View of the accountant's login. So our web portal. So here is the main page. This is a demo company that's been set up. And so here's where the accountant's name and logo would be showing up. And then here would be a list of all the companies associated to that accountant. And the accountant has access to all their clients' information. So let's just go into one of these companies. So we'll go into Ace Plumbing here. And so here the accountant can log in and get this information as well as the client. So the client will have a login as well to get all their information here. So here on the home page, you have, I'm just going to explain each one of these pages, what they do, and how to use the software. So here, there's just a simple graph of the labor costs. Underneath it here, you're going to see a history of each one of the payrolls. So if you click on the payroll, and then you'll see two places, two things, view a summary and view the pay stubs. So if you click on the summary, it'll bring up the summary report of that payroll. Now the summary report will be emailed to you and or your client after each payroll. And the summary report gives you the summary of what happened in the payroll. So you're going to see all the taxes that have taken out per employee. You're going to see the deductions if there were any, reimbursements, as well as the employee portion of the taxes, the company portion. And one thing to note here is, so it'll give you the total tax that'll be taken out. So here for the federal tax. And if this was a live company, a real company, there'd be a date here, and that would let you know, or your client know, the date that the amount is going to be taken out, drafted out of the account. And so that's the same for that every one of the taxes. You'll see that here. And we can also put on a processing fee for you to give to your client. So that's one thing to note is after each payroll, your client will know exactly when the taxes will be drafted out. That's a nice little feature there. Let's show you the pay stub really quick. So the pay stubs for each payroll is, so here it's very similar to the payroll summary in the sense that you get all the taxes broken out. You can get the year to dates of the taxes on here. There's a section for accruals, so if there's vacation pay, it'll show up here if you're accruing vacation pay. And then I'll have, the net check, the gross, and then there's a list of all the deductions over here. One thing to note is our pay stubs are in the format so that they can be printed onto blank checks. So this right here is an example of a center blank check. And so if you have a client that wants checks printed, you can print these checks out and they can come into your office and pick them up. So we have a handful of clients that would prefer checks rather than direct deposit, and so that's how this would work. Let's go back to the home page here. So that's mainly everything you're going to see on the home page. The payroll tab, this is where the payroll is actually happening. So up here you can see there is a start date, an end date, and a check date that can be set for the payroll. You can add, this is blank because all the employees are in the payroll, but you can add more employees into the payroll. One thing to note is we have the software set up so that if we have preset that they're getting 80 hours per payroll, it'll preset that amount so you don't have to type it in every time. But of course you can go in and change that if something changes each week. So that's a nice little thing. Makes things a little bit easier. Here you can save that. So if their hours are changing to 75 hours per payroll, you can save that. It'll save it to the next payroll. We can also add different payments. So if they're getting a reimbursement of, let's say, $100, we can add that to the payroll. You can add different deductions down here. And it'll go ahead and change the payroll. You can also go down here and add a note. So if there's a specific thing that's happening in this payroll, you can write a note to us and our staff will get that note and we'll apply those changes to the payroll. And then after you're done, you can just go down here and save it, or you can save and submit. So save and submit, we'll send it to our staff. Our staff will look it over and we'll run the payroll. The save is if if some of the clients haven't given you all the hours and you're just entering in some of the stuff, then you can come back and and your information will be saved. And it's one thing to note here is that your client will have access to this page as well as you. So if your client wants to put in their own hours, they're going to have access to this and they can do it. So you don't have to do any of the work, but you're also able to if you want to do it for them. And the reason these are grayed out is because of this right here. Because of direct deposit, we need direct deposit to be in the future. It can't be in the past. So that's why that's there. And another thing to note is you can change the pay methods. So you can have one person that's check on the payroll, and you can have another person that is a direct deposit. And so the people that are direct deposit will get deposited into the account. The people that are check will get checks printed. So that's one thing to note with the software. That's kind of nice. The employee page gives you an overview of all the employees. If you click into it, you'll get their each individual pay stubs per pay period. Contractors are 1099 employees, same thing. One thing to note about the custom reports here is we offer a bunch of different customized reports that your client can generate or you can generate on your client's behalf. They make it really handy, easy, makes the bookkeeping easy. So here, let me just give you an example. So the Fed tax report, let's just do for the year, and we'll do 2019. We'll just generate that. And here you get this custom report that's got all the taxes, Fed taxes. And you can download it here, you can print it, you can download it to a CSV so you can manipulate the data if you need to. So yeah, a bunch of different reports that can be used. And then the last tab here is filed reports. So here, because this is a demo company, we don't actually have any, but here there'll be folders. And inside each folder would have the different reports that are filed with the state and the Fed. So you'd have W-2s, 1099s, you'd have the 941s, 940s. That way you don't have to constantly contact us to get that information. It'll be in your web portal and you'll be able to have access to that at any time. So that's the main overview of the web portal. And if you have any questions about any specific details or how things work, you can give me an email at ben@payrollhive.com. I'm happy to answer any questions about it. Thanks.